Well, I just love it this time of year with all the fresh spring growth we have. First question though is to shoot black and white, or will it be colour? The decision has been made for me somewhat by the first scene I have here in front of me, but the question is, now I'm going to go for colour, which one? See, I've got a couple of lovely Kodak colour negative films here. I've got Portra 160 and I've got Portra 800. Portra 800 is my favourite colour film of all of them, but today's decision towards Portra 160 is swayed by the fact that I've got a lot more of this and it's cheaper. I haven't got much 800 and I haven't got much money to spend on film at the moment, so 160 it is. Now you may think that decision to go with 160 when I prefer 800 is a bit foolhardy, but to be honest, there's not much in it this morning. It's so still and clear and lovely fine detail, not a breath of wind. I think 160 is going to look absolutely beautiful. I don't like vivid colours particularly. I love the subtlety of forests and woodland, so I don't think I'm going to lose anything by shooting the slower film. Now, I love this scene in front of me. I absolutely think it's beautiful and so, it's just so me. I think I've shot this composition before, to be honest, but it's a long time ago and everything's changed within it. There's lots of movement of tree trunks, etc. Now, I want a lot of shadow detail this morning and I'm going to be shooting at f/22. So I'm looking at about 2 to 4 seconds. 2 to 4 seconds off. Let me point them out to you. You see this tree trunk here going across. There's a lot of dark areas on it and I don't want to go in black. If I have this big black object through the centre of the frame, it'll somewhat detract from this beautiful lightness here. It'll separate the frame in the middle. So I want this to be sort of a greyish area. So I'm going to meter off there and make sure I get plenty of exposure. So the densest areas on that tree are giving me 4 seconds in the shadows, which would normally give you 1 second if you're doing your zone 3s and stuff like that. But I am going to go for 2 seconds. I'm taking 2 frames at 2 seconds to make sure I get plenty of light in there. Any last regrets? No, none at all. 2 frames at 2 seconds. Right, mirror up. That's one. And the next one. Fantastic. I love that.
Well, I absolutely love the colours of Portra 160 here, and there's a ton of detail in there, really sharp image. Now the movement throughout the frame, you've got these two going right and these two cutting in, bringing you towards the centre. It balances well with the square format. Now I've lightened the area below the trunk and above the trunk to draw the eye into the centre of that square frame, and it goes without saying that I've darkened the edges on 3 sides to give I think quite a natural vignette, again to focus you in on the centre of the image. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with that. It's a good start to the day and another example of an image that really does need the 1:1 format.
Now the strange thing is, I wasn't going to loiter around this area at all. I thought I'd be working over in the deeper forest, but it's just so amazing. I'm actually contemplating shooting the whole roll just around this wonderful fallen tree and supporting act of fallen trees. I just can't get over how beautiful it is at this time of year with all the new growth. And to be honest, there are quite a few decent compositions within just a few feet of where I've already got my camera, so this may well be the one and only spot for the day. Well, it's as typical for landscape photographers. The spot I want to shoot from is somewhat precarious. Actually, I can't shoot from here. I've got a flipping branches right in front of me, so I'm going to have to get back probably to here. Now I've got my beloved 80mm standard lens on, which is beloved and wonderful, but oh, that's not too bad. But I may have to actually put the little extender on it. Yes, just to get past some of this foreground disinterest, blockage, etc. If I frame up with the 80, I like it, but or actually, do I need it? Yes, I think I do actually. It's a bit of a faff, but it's worth putting on. Yeah, so you typically think of extenders like this to get your sort of telephoto reach, but in my case it's to make my 80mm a bit longer, just a little bit longer, just to avoid some of that foreground, because I can't stand closer because there's water and all sorts of stuff there which I don't want to be stood in. So having that extra reach is absolutely marvellous. Having said that, I'm not quite sure about the composition there. I do think there's enough of a composition here, to be honest. Checked it with the Mark II Artist Viewfinder and I do like it. It's just a question of getting the right position now. I've put this extender on. I'm almost getting too far back, to be honest, but no, it's still working. It's still working. Now I suspect that the exposure values will be the same in this frame as the last one, but I have got the 1.4 times converter on, which adds a stop, so I may just meter the darkest area and shoot that, which is 4 seconds.
Well, I'm not as happy with this one as the first one. I do have those corresponding right and left movements out of the frame, but that image, that foreground tree trunk is just too bold and ugly. As you can see here, it pans down, and I think that dominates, and it's not really the sort of shot I want.
So the question I now ask is there anything else in this wonderful little spot here in the forest before I decide maybe to move on? Now I do like the curve of this tree, but is it a bit cliched? It's a bit bulky in the foreground as well. I'd probably have to bring it in a bit, and there's it's not bad, is it really, but is it enough? Yeah, something that looks super interesting over there is the glowing algae, mosses and trees. Just got to work out whether it's probably safer actually to put my camera back in the bag before yomping over there. Now, wonderful chaos as ever. Now, I am drawn to parts of the scene more than others, as you can see. I mean, you know, look at this here. Wonderful. The colours are just to die for. It may be worth shooting even something wide just to give you an idea of how colourful it is. I'm actually going to refrain from shooting any more around here just at the moment, and I'm going to go back to my original plan to walk across to some other trees, but I could be back. I'm very pleased to say my decision to move, I think, has been justified by the lovely scene I've got here with some lying water. It's always lying water around here. A beautiful background of trees with some sun coming through, but not too much sun though, that would blow it out. So I will need to get down low here with my 80mm lens, frame this up and include a little bit of sky, not the sky, sorry, just got that sky, the sky's too blue. Keep it down, but keep it cropped tightly in. Now this is one of those shots where the waist level finder is invaluable, and to be honest, I'm not bothering much with the Mark II Artist Viewfinder because I can see everything I need with the waist level finder. It's lovely and bright, and also getting down this low is difficult actually with the phone, believe it or not. This is one area where the optical viewfinder is far superior. Now this is a very unusual shot for me for one simple reason, and that's because I've shot it at f2.8, which is wide open on my little 80mm lens on the Bronica. Reason is this tree is sapling here in the way, and as soon as you stop down to f22, instead of that being blurred out by f2.8, it becomes quite sharp and distracting. You don't really see it at f2.8. Now 2.8 means I'm only going to get a few of the trees in focus, but I'm going to experiment, shall we say, with that one before I now switch to a longer lens to try and exclude this bush, or I may even move further over to the left, but I'll see in a second.
Well, this one surprised me. It turned out better than I expected. In terms of the composition, you've got this nice balance here, top and bottom of the frame, and these two little streams, rivulets coming through. They sort of bring your eye again to the centre of the frame. But the problem is, it's the elephant in the room. It's that little tree, isn't it? It's too blurred. It's just too soft in the front of the image, and it does detract somewhat. You don't notice it immediately, but as your eye wanders around in there closer, it doesn't work.
I think I'm actually better off moving rather than zooming in. Now, I don't quite like the arrangement of the water as much as from where the camera is set up over there at the moment, but it's not bad. It's very marginal, the differences. Just a shame this tree cuts in a little bit to the water, but I think I can get away with it. So, it works enough. Let's get a reading. Get this one shot at f20, f22, yeah, I love f22 on this lens, it's such a good lens. Doesn't degrade much at f22. I'm thinking a second. It's a second all over the scene, you know. Absolutely simple metering when you haven't got a bright sky in it.
Now, the differences may appear subtle here, but this is a much better frame. Not only is it all in focus, but I have a better balance of those wet areas on the left and right. And I think personally, if you look at the two here, the one with the tree which is blurred, it just doesn't match up at all. I much prefer the symmetry and that path going through on the second image. And I think that's possibly the best one of the day.
Well, I'm very pleased so far with what I've got. Wasn't what I expected actually. I was going to expect to be shooting around these trees here, but they haven't got enough growth on them yet. They're a bit stark and bland for my colour film. Maybe black and white, but I'm not loading a second back. So I think I'll head back towards the area I was at earlier. But I'm bound to see something because I'm facing a different direction. Now, when I was here about half an hour, 45 minutes ago, I wanted to shoot the lovely tree trunk you can see behind me or in front of me now, here. And I couldn't really do anything with it shooting from this bank area, but I had to think about it and I thought this might suit the sort of X-pan crop, that really wide 2.7:1. And there's no reason why you can't crop down any aspect ratio you want. And I've got plenty of spare capacity, if you like, with the Bronica, and I'm shooting a slow film. So I think with a wide angle lens and the X-pan crop, I've got something there. Now I only need half a second at f16 to get this. The reason I'm using f16 is A, there ain't no foreground to speak of. In fact, I'm going to f11 and all the way to f11 at a quarter. Reason being, this is not the best Bronica lens. I think it's the weakest Bronica lens. It's the 50mm PS, which is the later model, and it's still not very good. It's not good at f22 for sure. So yeah, stop down, it ain't good. So f11, quarter of a second is probably the better option. And the nice thing about that, and the nice thing about the X-pan crop, is I don't need a foreground or as much background because it's you know, it's that sort of letterboxy, isn't it? Foreground, which you normally need a small aperture for, you don't. I think I'll take another one of those. Thank you very much. Quarter of a second, how fast is that?
Now, I thought I was going to like this one more than I actually do. I think it's one of those which look better in preview than in reality, and although there's plenty of information in the scene and it's pleasant without the sky in there, I think the right hand side's letting it down a little bit. It sort of gets truncated before it finishes telling a story.
Using the Bronica as a little, that's a mini X-pan. It's like a bigger X-pan, it's a big camera, but I don't need an X-pan if I can visualize or pre-visualize my shots with a preview device and then cut them down later in Lightroom or in the darkroom. So a bit of best of both worlds. My favorite one-to-one format coupled with the amazing X-Pan format. Now I'm going to shoot this one as another super wide X-Pan crop, but I'm not going to talk you through it because there's people walk up and down this path and I'm going to be getting in the way. So I'm going to quickly set the camera up with the wide angle 50mm lens, f/16, and get it shot. Might help if you put your cable release in, Steve.
Well, to be honest, this is the weakest of the day. Although I do like the crop, and I will definitely use this crop more in future, the scene doesn't warrant it, and I was in a hurry to get home and use up those last 2 frames of film.
Well, I couldn't be happier with that shoot this morning. It was ludicrously easy. Compositions were jumping out at me. It shows you what difference the weather and the change in seasons makes, because I was all fingers and thumbs on a previous trip. Now, you may be wondering or asking yourself, a bit like the last trip, and I did address it then, why, Steve, don't you shoot with the 135 Bronica back, the panoramic back that takes 35mm film? Well, it's very expensive. It's very expensive for what it is, and to be honest, you can do everything you need just by cropping down 120 film. And the advantage is with the 120 film, I've got all the aspect ratios covered from 1:1, 3:2, 4:3, you know, 4:5, and even the X-Pan or 16:9 crop. So I won't be spending £600–700 on an unnecessary back just to shoot 35mm film and save a few pounds potentially on each roll I shoot. So this is a multi-function, multi-format camera that does absolutely everything I need it to. Now, something else, awkward. Something else which I'm very pleased about this morning is that after my last forest foray and my struggles with the Bronica due to lack of familiarity, I was much more competent this morning. Didn't fluff a single shot, had no problems with changing lenses, putting converters on, messing about with the controls. It was all very, very natural and intuitive, and that's because I have been practicing, getting out, practicing shooting, developing rolls of films, getting them into vlogs, all good stuff. So I do hope you enjoyed this multi-aspect ratio shoot, and I'll see you again on the next one. Thanks for watching.